Marcus Licinius Crassus, the lesser-known member of the first triumvirate of Caesar and Pompey, was by far the richest person of his time. His great wealth gave him even greater power within the Roman Republic, and would eventually lead him to his downfall. Today I'll talk about this powerful senator and his adventurous life.
There's Romans think they're minted, but they ain't rich like me. You can't call yourself loaded till you can buy an army.
Crassus was born the second son of the powerful plebeian senator Publius Licinius Crassus in 115 BC. Early adult life for Crassus would begin tough, as by 86 BC his father and brothers would all be dead, either through suicide or murder during the terms of Gaius Marius and his purges. Even after the end of the Marian purges, Crassus would be banished along with other senators who supported Licinius Cornelius Sulla's march on Rome in 88 BC by the last surviving consul, Licinius Cornelius Cinna, the father-in-law of Caesar. Crassus would flee to Hispania for 3 years, where he raised 2,500 men from his father's clients. He used this army to extort money from the local settlements, as well as being accused of sacking Malacca. Cinna would die in 84 BC, allowing Crassus to begin his return back to Rome. After a short stint in North Africa, Crassus sailed to join Sulla in Greece. This would begin his involvement in the First Civil War. During the Civil War, Crassus fought alongside his future ally Pompey in a battle in the plain of Spoletium, modern-day Spoleto. They killed 3,000 Marian troops and besieged their commander Crassus. Crassus's most important part in the war would come at the battle outside the Colline Gate in Rome. The battle had not been going well for Sulla's troops, and his centre was being pushed back. This is when the general heard the news of Crassus's major victories on the right flank, emboldening his own troops to win the battle by the next morning. This victory caused Sulla to win the war and become master of Rome. More importantly, it gave Crassus the necessary recognition and rewards from Sulla to propel him to greatness. Crassus's next goal was to regain his family's lost fortunes, which were confiscated by Cinna and Marius. When Sulla came to power, he confiscated the estates and wealth of the supporters of Marius, which were given to his supporters. Crassus, being an incredibly loyal ally of Sulla, gained enough to have a wealth of 200 million sesterces. According to Plutarch, Crassus's wealth could be equated to 229 tons of gold, or about $13.7 billion in today's money. Also acquired wealth through conventional means like the Roman slave trade, production from silver mines, and real estate purchases. However, his most intriguing way of income was through a fire brigade. Crassus owned the only fire brigade in Rome. When a fire broke out, the brigade would go to the burning building but do nothing. Crassus would then negotiate a meagre price for the purchase of the building. If the owner refused, the house would be left to burn, but if they accepted, it would be put out. This gave Crassus a huge amount of real estate in Rome, which he would refurbish and then lease out to people for profit. After rebuilding his family's financial empire, Crassus's next ambition would be the re-establishment of a political career. Due to his military successes, his political future was near assured, but he would be routinely outshone by Pompey the Great. The two would develop a fierce rivalry which would greatly influence Crassus's future career. During the Third Servile War, otherwise known as Spartacus's revolt, Crassus offered to raise his own legions with his own funds to assist Rome, who had lost several legions and their commanders. By order of the Senate, he was sent into battle against Spartacus. At first, he struggled in the war, especially with the morale of his own men. To fix this issue, he enacted the ancient practice of a decimation. 1 in 10 of his men would be beaten to death in a brutal punishment for desertion. This greatly improved the fighting spirit of the men, who, according to Appia, thought that Crassus was, quote, more dangerous to them than the enemy. When Spartacus retreated to the Bruttian Peninsula, Crassus would try to trap him in his armies by putting a large ditch across the peninsula of Rhegium. Despite this attempt, Spartacus would escape during a heavy snowstorm one night. After this, the Senate would call the armies of Pompey and Varro Lucullus back to deal with the rebelling slaves. Believing that fighting one army was far better than 3, Spartacus made an attempt to defeat Crassus at the Battle of the Salaris River. The battle would end in a decisive victory for Crassus. Spartacus was presumed dead, and he had captured 6,000 slaves. As a brutal warning to others and to show off his military glory, Crassus crucified all 6,000 of them along the Via Appia, the main southern route to Rome. This victory against the slaves of Spartacus would push Crassus's career forward as he further pursued political power. 6 years after the end of the Third Servile War, Crassus was elected censor with Quintus Lutatius Catulus Capitolonus, a position that oversaw the census and aspects of the Republic's finances. He also funded Caesar's campaigning, successfully getting him elected Pontifex Maximus, or greatest priest. He also supported Caesar's efforts to gain command during military campaigns. Lastly, his mediation between Caesar and Pompey would lead to the creation of the First Triumvirate, a political alliance consisting of the three, which would last until Crassus's death. After the Lucca conference in 56 BC, Crassus was assigned the province of Syria, a highly lucrative province in the empire with untold riches. However, Crassus would not be able to enjoy this as he crossed the river Euphrates and marched into Parthia, otherwise known as Persia or modern-day Iran. He did this to rival the military successes of Pompey and Caesar to prove himself more powerful than them. Crassus took directions from the Osroene chief Ariamnes, who had previously helped Pompey. Unknown to him was that Ariamnes was in the pay of the Parthians. He urged Crassus to attack the Parthians immediately, leading his forces into the desolate desert. In 53 BC, Crassus's forces would face the Parthians at Karae, modern-day Haran in Turkey. Crassus held the numerical advantage, but his heavy units were not prepared for the swift attacks of the Parthians and were decisively crushed. After being bombarded till dusk, the Roman forces retreated. Crassus's men were near mutiny and forced him to parley with the Parthians. Reluctantly, he agreed to meet them. However, his junior officer Octavius sensed a trap and grabbed his horse's bridle, instigating a fight with the Parthians that left the Romans, including Crassus, dead. Later, a story would emerge that the Parthians had captured Crassus and poured molten gold down his throat, killing him. However, it is unlikely this actually happened. It has also been documented that the Parthians used Crassus's severed head in an adaptation of the Euripides play, The Bacchae. And so that was the end of Crassus, a very rich 62 years of life drawn to a close. The richest man to live in Rome was dead. I hope you enjoyed this video. If I've made any mistakes or there's a topic you would like me to talk about, please let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.